Hello and welcome to another sketchbook tour. Now this sketchbook might be familiar to you because it is the sketchbook that I brought with me to Japan, and it's appeared in a couple of my other videos, but I finished it, so I figured it'd be a good time to do a sketchbook tour of it. In case you don't know, this is the Traveler's Notebook, and this is what I brought with me on my travels. So here's my setup, and let me just take this out so it's easier to talk about. This is the Traveler's Notebook blank or sketchbook refill. I think there's only like 20 spreads here, so it's kind of perfect for traveling because then there's not a lot of paper in here. It's thin enough, and it's also staple bound, so it is very lightweight, and it opens flat, which is really great because I do like drawing across spreads sometimes. So it's nice and sturdy, and it will handle the rigors of travel. The paper itself is also really nice and thick. It's 100 GSM, I believe, which is more than good enough for travel sketching because, at least for me, I mostly just draw in ink, so that's pretty good. But it can handle poster paints or gouache or even heavier stuff. It might not be able to handle like really heavy watercolor, like wet on wet painting, but even light watercolor, I think is perfectly fine and good. So I started this sketchbook on the 26th of August, and I went to Tokyo for 2 weeks, so that's the reason I brought this and I have this at all. And the rest of this is just my tools that I had with me on my trip. A lot of this was bought while I was in Japan because you're in Japan and it's like you might as well just buy some stationery while you're there. So I deliberately did not bring that much with me. I think it was just these two, the High-Tech C and a gray brush pen that I brought with me. And these here I bought while I was there. And again, this is just like there's really nothing in here. It's just a little like insert that I just stored all the ticket stubs and whatever that I have yet to sort out, really. And also this is washi tape, which I will talk about. It's really good. But I'll bring any of these things up as they become relevant. So let's just get started. So yeah, I bought this when I arrived in Japan. There's like a Traveler's notebook store in Narita Airport, which is really nice. It's such a good place to have a store like that. So I bought it while I was there, meaning that I didn't get to do any drawing while I was on the flight. So these drawings, I think they were almost about 2 days into the trip already. So there's not that much drawing going on while I was like traveling, because this is a proper vacation, meaning I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything. So it was like a lot of sightseeing and a lot of traveling and moving back and forth. So there wasn't that much downtime to do drawing. And so this was the view from across the Blue Bottle in Shibuya. These drawings I think I did at a restaurant. They had like sake bottles and whatnot, so I just drew that. And yeah, if you're a coffee person, you would definitely know of Blue Bottle. They're really famous, and the coffee's pretty good. And yeah, I don't know what this is. It's probably just like a little oh, it's really pretty actually. I think it's like a flyer that I took, but this is really nice graphic design here, so that's probably why I kept it. Good reference. And here too, these are just some sketches of ships. A lot of the drawing I did was like just trying to find some downtime during the trip, where it's like instead of pulling out my phone to browse Reddit or Instagram or Twitter, I made a concerted effort to not do that, because that's just the reflex, is that whenever you're just chilling and there's nothing to do, you just pull your phone out. So that was like, instead of doing that, I just drew. So a lot of my drawing came from like those moments, really. So it's like a lot of it is just really comfort zone drawing for me, where it's just spaceships and all these sort of like vehicles and robots and things like that, where it's like I'm just letting my brain do its thing. It's almost like meditative. So I'm not really actively trying to design stuff or think about it too hard. It's just like a relaxing activity for me. I think here I was trying to do like a different kind of like shading, where it's like Mobius, almost like lithograph wood etching kind of shading here where it's like the lines are kind of like broken, like wood block printing. And these are all obviously done with the High-Taxi pen, which is just again the best. And then here, yeah, just some drawings, you know, like I said, I'm just chilling at, you know, while having lunch and while waiting for other people to finish up. You know, I just drew like a little, you know, telephone pole or power line stuff. Here in Japan has really beautiful power lines. If you're curious, just the amount of like tech and wires and cables, so pleasing to me. And then here again, like I have this like little element here that I thought was really cool. I don't know what it is, maybe some radiator or transformer type thing, and I just transposed that and like transplanted it here into like the mask of like a knight or something like that. I thought it was quite fun. And yeah, so this is the highlighter that I bought while I think it was at Itoya, but it's like a nice big stationery store in Tokyo. And I get a lot of questions asking me about like this blue pen. It's like, oh, it's so different and special. Like, what kind of like brush pen are you using? And no, it's just a highlighter that they happen to have in this really pretty like robin egg, like Tiffany blue color. It's like really nice and pale and really appealing. And you know, while I was there, I was looking for brush pens and, you know, some sort of accent color to work into my sketchbook. And none of them really spoke to me except for a highlighter, which is funny how that works. And yeah, these are just like ticket stubs or whatever things I bought while I was there. And again, with the highlighter, it's not really meant to be drawn with, so it's quite difficult to you know, be very precise with your shading. And you know, there's like overlaps here, kind of like a Copic marker in a way. So it's not very precise. Not as precise as a Copic marker, definitely. But that's just the nature of the tool. And also you can use it with like a lot of these under drawings. So these are just under drawings. I just did quick sketches with this here, very loose, and then went over top of that with the High-Taxi just to like really, you know, make it more precise and work it out. So that's a really fun way to work. So instead of drawing with black ink and then coloring it, you can do it the other way around. This one also, it was just like random drawings. This was on a park bench outside, and it was so hot. My goodness, August in Japan is so hot. I'm from Malaysia, and let me tell you, it's not nearly as hot as summer in Japan. So there were a lot of people just like trying to deal with the heat. You know, I was just like sketching them with like, you know, neck cooling fans and umbrellas and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I was just drawing random people on the street here too. So yeah, I mean, I went for like this like a traditional tea ceremony. So a lot of the stuff is just inspired by that. You know, a lot of these again is just inspired by travel, just looking around and seeing things, and it's like, oh, that's a really cool element. I'm just trying to capture that. This one too was like, man, my first like real break in on the trip, where I got to sit down at a cafe for like an hour in an air-conditioned room and just draw. And I think that's really important to have like programmed into your trip if you're on holiday. At least for me personally, I think it's really important. I think it's nice to have just a block where you're not doing anything and you're just taking a break from your vacation, if you know what I mean. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, this washi tape is really helpful. So just travel sketchbooks in general, or even if you're just traveling, having washi tape is really helpful, because you know, then you can actually stick it into your sketchbook as opposed to just collecting it here in like a pouch and then just forgetting about it. And then, you know, like later on you're gonna actually have to dig through all this and sort it out and you know, whatnot. And I found this while I was at Itoya, which is really cool. It's washi tape that is pre-cut, I guess, or it's just like cut into these sheets here. So it's nice because you don't have to tear your washi tape and make like jagged edges like these if you want to keep them clean, even though I do. But here, you know, I can just stick it here. And it's nice because for, you know, traditional rolls of washi tape, it's, you know, they're really big and bulky and not really that convenient to store, especially if you're using like a traveler's notebook. and you have to like put it in here. That's like so much mass. Versus like this, it's really nice and convenient to have, and it just saves you so much space, and it's really, really convenient. It works like double-sided tape basically that you stick on here. So yeah, if you can find something like this, definitely bring it along with you when you're traveling. It's Japanese stationery makers, man. They just make stuff, and it's like, why didn't anyone think of this? But yeah, it's so good. It's like one of the best things I've bought. Moving back to this, yeah. So these are the Toyota Crowns, which are the taxi cabs in Tokyo. They're really cool because like they have like self-closing doors. Not like, you know, the sliding doors, but they actually like open and close on their own, which I thought was really cool. I've never seen that before, and I really love the design of like a Toyota Crown. It's so 90s, 80s, like late 80s, early 90s design, and they just really haven't changed the look of it since. Here again, I was at a cafe which is at, I think, Harajuku. It's called Saruta Hiko at the bridge. And yeah, just shading with this again. I made a note to myself to start with the figures next time. It's something really important I learned, which is to draw a person. It could be any figure here, but just like the main character, if you will, first, and draw them in perspective, and then do the rest of the environment around them, around the first figure, I would say. Because where this one, I started drawing the environment first. So I started with the table in perspective and all that, and then put the figures in after the fact, which ends up looking really stiff for some reason. Whereas like if I just draw a figure, it doesn't look like this, right? So I think for me next time, I would start with a figure first and have it look really good and natural before, you know, drawing this, and then just build around it. And from there you can grow out this way, as opposed to drawing a table and then fitting something in there. I think that's a lot more difficult. So that's just something that I've learned. This one here too was so I got this brush pen at, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the big, really cool 7-story stationery store in Tokyo. It starts with an S, don't remember. But I got this brush pen. I think it's by Sai. I think that's the brand, or Akashiya. I don't really know which one is the brand. But it's this brush pen that they do in like, you know, Japanese traditional colors. I don't know what that means. And yeah, I've just never seen one in this color. I thought it was really nice. And also it's really thin. I don't think there's much ink in here, so I might just be running really low very soon. But yeah, it's just really interesting, and I bought it just to give me some more variety in my shading. And these were girls on the side of the street. So where I stayed in Tokyo, it was at Ikebukuro, which, if you know, is sort of like, I don't want to say seedy, but it's like sort of there's a lot of nightclubs and like the sort of nightlife part of Tokyo. And at night, or even during the day really, there are these girls who like stand at the side of the street holding signs with like a price on it. I think they're hostess clubs. I don't know what they are really, because I can't read Japanese. But they're there, and like this girl, she was standing outside my Airbnb every single night. So every night when I left and when I got back, she would be there holding a sign with cat ears for like 2 weeks. So I saw her every day, so I just drew her, and you know, another one of them, which it's so interesting. And yeah, just more Mac drawings. And again, like using this green ink, you could use it as accents to fill in parts of, you know, your drawing, or you could also use the shade, which I think is really nice too, because it's light enough that it doesn't kill it with, like, you know, by being too dark and contrasty. So yeah, just some tests for that kind of like shading, and I think it works. And then this one is for Art Club too, for the Giant Fish month. So these are just like concept drawings and designs for the ship, the main hero ship. And this is our concepts for the harpoon gun. So just trying to work out how that looks and how that works and all that. And I think besides this, that's pretty much it for travel sketchbook drawing. I think this is what I did in 2 weeks, which is like, it's not a lot of drawing. It's still a good amount really, but it's not that much drawing. Which I think is realistic as far as like what to expect from 2 weeks of travel. Like you're just not gonna have that much time to draw, aside from like your flights, or like if you're traveling from place to place on like train rides. So this is really it, and then the rest of that I did when I got back. So this is done in Kakimori Kurum, I think it's what it's called. It's a green ink by Kakimori in a fountain pen, and this is really pale forest green. I'm not really sure how to feel about it yet. I'm kind of undecided because while it is a really nice shade, it might be too light to draw with, as in like for the main line art, but it might be too dark to shade with also. So I'm kind of on the fence about where this sits. This one too, I really love this one. These are like, it's a tiny sub amongst a herd or school of garden eels. And here's another design for the harpoon ship that did not make the cut. These are done in Pilot's Iroshizuku Suyukusa ink, which is a discontinued shade of blue, and I'm so sad that they discontinued it because it's such a lovely shade of blue. I've been hoarding bottles, like wherever any place sells them, I would just get a bottle because I know they're not gonna bring it back because it's not that popular. I never see anyone talk about it, so I've just been hoarding bottles of those because they don't make them anymore. Here too, another one. And it's just an experiment with doing other parts, accent parts in a different color. So it was with this Iroshizuku, this Kurum ink. And I don't think it works, this blue and this green together, but the idea is there, and maybe I just have to test it out with different combinations of colors. But it's just a fun thing you can do as well. And I don't know what's going on with these legs here. Also again done with the Kurum, and then this is obviously brush pen. And I'm just trying to draw bigger lately because I realized that I draw pretty small. Like even this one here, it's a full-size Mac, but it's really not that big. It's like no bigger than my hand, or it's the same size as my hand really. So I've just been trying to draw bigger for some reason, and it's difficult because like I just lose all sense of proportion. And you can see here, like with the legs and just like the silhouette and the shape, it's all kind of whack because I'm just not used to drawing that large. With the brush pen it's a little bit easier because you tend to draw larger with a brush pen anyways, because of the nature of the tool. It's hard to draw small anyways. So with the brush pen it's not so bad, but with like a something thinner like this high-tech C drawing here, it is very difficult to just visualize it all at once at such a large size. So for me it's just an ongoing challenge and something that I am trying to work on. This was done during Easter Sunday at church. So I'm not a religious person, but it was Easter Sunday, so I figured I had to go to church. And yeah, I just drew some, what's it called, biblically accurate angels. So yeah, it's just some panels of like the resurrection day, and zombie Jesus. The next time I draw in church will be during Christmas Day. Another experiment. So now I'm experimenting with this Suyukusa with the this Tableau ink as shading. So this is what that looks like, and I'm kind of undecided about how to feel about it. Like on one hand it's kind of nice, but on the other hand it doesn't really work. Let me know what you think. I might have to just do a few more before I really develop any real thoughts about whether this works for me or not. I'm not sure. Yeah, so here's just another test again with now the Kurum ink. It's just the one that I have inked up at the moment in my fountain pen. So I end up just cycling between these two and just finding combinations of what I already have inked and just trying it out. So this is with the this one and the Kurum ink. And yeah, I think this works better, to be honest, than the blue line art because they're both, this is pale enough and it kind of gives us this really, really soft look, as opposed to this one which is, kind of contrasty. but the hues don't really work that well together in my opinion. I don't know, you let me know what you think. But this works a little bit better to me, even though it is very pale and very soft and kind of difficult to see sometimes. It's kind of hard to work with because it is a pale ink and it writes or draws quite dry, meaning that the ink doesn't flow as much. That's like a fountain pen term. And yeah, I mean, I just end up gravitating back to the High-Tech C as always because it is just such a great pen. It is just so nice to draw with. And that's the end of the sketchbook. I finished this on 20th of April, so 420, which is what, like eight months from August. So this was 2 weeks of drawing, and this was the other 7 months and 2 weeks. But yeah, like I've said this before, when it comes to travel sketchbooks, like after you're done with the trip and you come back, I don't really feel that motivated to just continue drawing because again, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same. So yeah, this took me the rest of another 7 months to finish. But that's just the way it goes. Oh yeah, also, I bought this pencil thinking that I would use it, and I don't know why, but, well, I know why. It's because it's really small and thin and cool and cute, and I don't know, it would fit into my travel sketchbook and it didn't take that much space. But I don't draw with pencils, I never draw with pencils, so this never ever got used. But anyways, that's my sketchbook. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.